There we go. Okay, so I am again 36-year-old Bernie delegate from Delaware, father of 3 kids, and a full-time registered nurse. I came into Detroit yesterday, and the Uber driver who drove me from the airport was talking to me about local things. I was trying to get his idea of what things are like here in Michigan and Detroit, and I asked him about Flint. This is a man who was born and raised here in Michigan with a lot of you. And he had no idea that Flint is still having the problems that they have, that they still don't have drinkable water, that they still don't have a system in place or a solution in place to help those people. And why is that? Because obviously the man cares about his community just like all of you do, but it's because none of us really know what's going on because we're so engaged in our day-to-day lives that we really can't pay the kind of attention that we need to. So how do we fix this? I got together with a lot of my friends and created what's called US United, and the goal of this is people power, bringing people together to share a message, because more of us believe in the same things and want the same things for our families and our children than we have things that divide us. As a country, I do believe that we can do better together, we can do more together than we can apart. With a little help from our friends, we can accomplish a lot of things, such as better public education for our families, for our children, for the future. Clean drinking water for every citizen in this country and eventually in the world. A 100% green energy power grid that is completely possible right now, today. Not in 10 years, not in 15, not in 20, but right now. We can end Citizens United. We can kill the TPP. We can break down the Democratic and Republican parties. We can finish the job that I helped start with Bernie Sanders by getting Jill Stein and Jamu Baraka elected as President and Vice President of the United States of America. None of these things, however, are possible without all of you and everybody at home and everybody who needs to get the message. There are too many people in this country right now that are still glued to their televisions. So let's talk to each other. Let's break away from the TVs and the distractions and be a community again. Let's speak to each other, let's educate each other, and let's activate for activism and get Jill Stein elected, get the TPP killed, get green energy, get education, get water, accomplish all the goals that we all believe in. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for coming.
Who's Nico? Who's Nico? Is he here? Nico! Just kidding. How's everybody doing this afternoon? What's up, Detroit? To make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, I am a little upset. And I'm upset because I keep seeing the same two faces over and over and over again, as if we don't have two other choices for president and we don't need only one choice, and that is Jill Stein. But you know what the problem is? The problem is that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump care about being president of the United States of America. And that is where they have made their false step, because they have defined their victories in meaningless, fickle titles. And they thought that a bunch of educated, ultra-intelligent revolutionaries were going to define their victories the same way. We define our victories by crushing legislation like TPP, not by winning in office, because an office can only have one person fill that position. But a movement doesn't win or lose by attaining an office. And that is one reason why I gravitated so heavily towards Jill Stein and Jamu Baraka, because the main message that they kept perpetuating was that it doesn't stop here. When I saw Mr. Jamu Baraka in the Bronx last week, he repeated over and over again, we can win this office. Winning the office is actually the least of our worries. Where we get worried is whenever people become disengaged because they feel something like losing a small battle is a determining factor on whether you are victorious or not. You know what? If Trump wins, I don't know who they're going to blame because they're not going to blame me. I voted for Jill Stein. But guess what? I was also a Bernie supporter. And I know what he was fighting against. You cannot in the same breath say that you support Bernie Sanders' revolution and then vote for the candidate that represents everything he was fighting against. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, to push not Bernie Sanders' revolution, not Jeff Day, not Jill Stein, not Jamal Baraka, but our revolution forward, I and everyone else in this room will be voting for Jill Stein and Jamal Baraka for 2016. Thank you.
Jeff Day, Nico House. Jeff Day and Nico House. All right. Our next set of speakers is Lena Thompson and Leisha Fagan. These are also Bernie turned Jill delegates. We will ask you to approach the podium and approach the microphone. Lena Thompson and Leisha Fagan. Here we go. Please welcome them to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Lena Thompson, also known as Lena Danger on Facebook, and DJ Lena. This is a sample t-shirt and I bought it in green for some reason. This is my logo and now I have a real reason to wear it. Yeah, anyway, I was on the Bernie platform committee. I was in Orlando and I was in Philly. And I went there with an open heart and open mind, lifelong Democrat, feeling like, yeah, I want to make a contribution. And I did get a couple amendments in that platform, but I also had some that were defeated. And we had 6 in particular that we wanted to bring forth as minority reports for our convention that Bernie decided not to. Now tell me, do you think that this is revolutionary for a party that's supposed to be a Democratic party? Tell me what you think. We could not get paid family and medical leave in the platform. We could not get taxing income over $250,000 for Social Security. And of course, that was one of mine that didn't get it. It was called Scrap the Cap. And that would protect the top 1.5%. That's what we're talking about. And we couldn't get that in the platform. We couldn't get full CPI for the elderly for Social Security. That's, a Consumer Price Index. We couldn't get Medicare for all in our platform. And we could not get a few little words, and that's why we are opposed TPP. We could not get that in our platform. No to TPP. And we could not get an end to occupation and illegal settlements for the Palestinians. We could not get that in our platform. Let me just say real quick that one of the Hillary members, Muslim woman, beautiful. Next day I meet her and she tells me that she was scolded because she voted for those 2 platform amendments against the illegal settlements and for human rights. And she was told that she would never get anywhere in the Democratic Party. And that's when I decided that I don't want to be anywhere in the Democratic Party. #DemExit for me, vote Jill Stein. I will not be in line, vote Jill Stein.
I understand that I may have announced the last set of speakers as entertainers. They're not that. These are Bernie turned Jill candidates for talking about what's best for us. That's who they are. We've got another one right here. Linka, what's your last name? Perrin is here. Please welcome her to the microphone.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I was actually asked to come up here and explain how somebody who was a Bernie delegate, very active in the Bernie campaign, actually left, the reasons why I left the Democratic Party, in case there's anybody here who is on the fence about that. And I'm just going to talk from my heart what I went through. I've always been a Democrat. I have always voted Democratic. And for some reason, it didn't matter what the controversy was, what the accusations were, I was always Team Democrat, right? The Republicans we're so much smarter than the Republicans, and that's all that matters as long as I vote Democratic. And I didn't realize that I was put into a media-induced coma for 30 years of my voting life. And one of the things that I learned from Bernie Sanders was to actually start asking the questions. He didn't completely answer them, but he just lit that fire. So over the 16 months of campaigning for him, I started to realize I was no longer an insider on the Democratic Party. The people that I trusted, Obama, everybody else treated us like the wicked, nasty stepsisters to the Republican Party. We all of a sudden were the outsiders. We were the enemy. The gift that the Democrats gave me was they opened the door and let us take a peek into the level of corruption and power that they have. So I always knew that Jill Stein was going to be my plan B, right? Similar platform, she doesn't take campaign money, or lobbyist money or corporate money. But then something started to happen. I started to actually watch her on TV, and I was shocked at how she stood out from the crowd. She didn't have a lobbyist chirping in her ear when she gave that answer. She didn't have a corporate buyer in that ear when she was explaining that problem. It was a breath of fresh air. But then I watched the town hall, and I saw Jamu, and I saw Jill, and the way they talked to us was if we were intelligent, passionate beings. They didn't have well-crafted responses. They weren't trying to steal our votes. They didn't work behind the scenes to come up with sound bites to keep us programmed. They spoke to us the way we always talk to each other over coffee, in our family rooms, or what have you. So, Jill is no longer my plan B. Jill is number one in my mind, in my heart, in her own right. I am leading the Democratic Party, and I am with Jill. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Elaine Petrucci, formerly of Metro Detroit for Bernie. Now, Metro Detroit for our revolution. Yes. I was a Sanders delegate. We knew when we went up to the front in the Michigan delegation, and we knew that when the opening prayer, before Hillary was even nominated, we were asked to pray that Hillary Clinton become our next president. That there was no way that there was going to be true democracy. We knew that. We knew the next day we were in the front row. You probably may have seen us. We screamed every time Hillary's name was mentioned before she was nominated. No! And all the cameras flipped on us. We said, there's no way we're going to have our seats the next day. Guess what? Those seats were reserved, given to Clinton delegates with homemade signs that weren't homemade signs. We had a true revolution beginning, but we know
from what Jill Stein says, that you cannot have a revolution in a non-revolutionary party. And it's too late. The newest predictions are within 5 years that if we don't turn around our climate, there is no turning around. So everybody, there are some people in the back who are going to ask you, we know what we did for Bernie. We had the largest polling error in modern American history. We did it for Bernie. We need to do it for Jill. Woo! So come on, what does democracy look like? What does democracy look like? What does democracy look like? That's right, that's right. We gotta get the message out. We need some funds. We also have to get up off our behinds. It's beautiful to see all of you here. Much bigger than a Clinton rally. Have you seen some of the Clinton rallies? This is awesome. This is awesome. The energy here is amazing. So not only, please give what you can. 29 for Stein. It was 27 for Bernie, right? Let's give the extra $2. Because it rhymes, right? 29 for Stein, please, and please volunteer. A few of us delegates went to Kentucky about 3 weeks ago to get signatures, to get Stein on the ballot. Drove from Michigan. I'm telling you what, most of the students in that Northern Kentucky University didn't know about Stein, but I'll tell you what, when we left, they did. Woo! That's all it takes. They just need to know that somebody is wanting to save them, wanting to save the planet. We can't do that with the most unpopular, disliked candidates in the history of the United States. So let's do what we can for Stein. 29 for Stein, 29 for Stein, everybody. What was that? One more time. All right, thank you. And one last chant. It's gonna go like this. You want our vote? You got our vote. You want our vote? You want our vote? You want our vote? You want our vote? Thank you. Please give. Thank you.
Be loud. How y'all doing? Yeah. As a hip-hop artist, I'm expected to keep it real. I'm expected to keep it 100. You know, I'm going to tell a little election story. We're going to hear from one of my mentors, Elena Harada, and she observed as a candidate that here we are in Detroit, in a city that had many of its institutions of government taken over by the state. And all these people were running for election, not mentioning at all that they had no power, not mentioning at all that they were running for a position that literally could do nothing. So welcome to Detroit, a city that is under attack from its own state. And in the spirit of keeping it real, we're gonna play this song right here. It's an emergency.
With leadership selected by the citizens in charge of the city.
Mama Joanne Watson.
That a state which has its own deficit. In a country which has its own deficit. Has the nerve of me pointing fingers.
These financial dictators, pay now, take your stuff later, grab 15% like a 10th waiter, or a pound of flesh like slick gators on your feet. No debating me, trying to recreate the Z, put the town in debt till it's down, saying mercy me. Marvin Gaye, probably right size and policy, rep silver gold, real naked choke, figure 4, tighter than submission hoe, till your knee hits your nose. What you think we elected them for? EFM, oh wait, we ain't elected them though, it's an emergency. Emergency, mother. Yeah. They're appointed by the governor to run up in a brother oven, snap the bread in the butt to his cousin and dash laughing like a dude in the dozen who's so broke. Like 1,000 piece jigsaw puzzle, I'm off the leash. They wanna keep a brother wuzzle. Where my dog's at? Yo, the governor's a tall rat. Where my dog's at? Yo, the mayor is a mouse and the governor's a tall rat. They try to take all the city's trees, cripple its abilities, sell its facilities. We hot and ready like a Little Caesar pizza. May I ask, do you believe? Tell us that no one